Hello and welcome to another edition of Fours and Sixers. So we did an earlier video about the top 4 teams who have qualified. We'll now just briefly talk about some of the bottom 6 teams. We will avoid talking about the likes of CSK because I think we've already done a special show on them. Just coming back first, I think it's apt that we start this talking about Delhi. What a difference a month or 1.5 months make. They had won, I think, each of the first 4 games. After what has happened to them, people have stopped performing. They have the likes of McGurk has not performed at all. They have had captaincy changes. Akshar Patel having an injury, Faf du Plessis not turning up. Maybe not the right word, but still, what has happened to them?
I think we have seen this trend in the past, like probably Punjab in 2018 when Ashwin took on as captain. They won 6 of the first 8, exactly what Delhi had done, and then sort of dived in from there and did not make it to the playoffs. And that's probably what happens when you probably get a little bit of a longer break middle of the season when the momentum gets lost, and once things spiral, it's very hard to come out of in these kind of tournaments. So, they've had a really good season, better than what they've had say for the last 4 years. They have a really good team, but I think what really disrupted is what the match in Dharamshala that sort of probably mentally posed a challenge to a lot of people. Some of the players who did not.
To be fair, they started losing even before the game in Dharamshala.
Yes, but the biggest stars and the most impactful players did not come back. Mitchell Stark didn't come back. Fraser McGurk did not come back, and understandably,
McGurk was already dropped before then.
But even then, understandably so, they did not want to come back.
Yeah.
And when if you have looked at the trend, one of the way they won games is predominantly on KL Rahul in the middle order and Tristan Stubbs showing up. The top order has always been iffy throughout the season, and it was bound to happen when Fraser McGurk didn't show up because Faf du Plessis is not the player he was say 5 years ago. He's almost into his late 30s, entering his 40s, and then Abhishek Porel he's had cameos but not impactful performances. It is a bit sad in the sense that Kuldeep Yadav has had an extraordinary season and Akshar Patel had a good season with the ball as well, but it is not there to be for them. They've sort of lost the steam, and probably the mid-season rule changes sort of obviously it didn't affect anyone in hindsight. If the Mumbai match had gone, like even in that match 18 overs they played really well, and then they conceded like 48 runs and sort of lost the plot. And I think it's just they've from the halfway point, it's like the movie where the first half was good and the second half was just
I think just from a point of view of what changes to make for next year, Firoz, they, I think, know that the supplementary Indian pace attack needs some work. The likes of Mukesh, probably they need a better, more impactful bowler if they're serious about winning the title. Maybe Mukesh Kumar is in the answer, and we don't know if Mitchell Stark will come back. So Jake Fraser McGurk, they spent a lot of money on him. So Delhi, even if they didn't advance the playoffs, there are straight away some ready-made changes that they can make to rectify the problems that they have.
Yeah, 100%, because for such a long tournament you need to have a proper replacement, because once they don't have Mitchell Stark, as Gomesh said in that match against Mumbai Indians, conceding more than 40 runs in last 2 overs, that is what means 2 overs cost them the whole match. Had they won that match, so they would have still been in the contention. So yeah, you need to have a proper backup. They need to have players who can aptly replace others who are there in the playing 11 and somehow they are not available for that particular match. So yeah, you need to have it. And as you said, they need to have some Indian bowlers, Indian batters who can replace their foreign counterparts. So obviously they need to do a lot of soul searching before the start of next season.
Moving on from Delhi, one franchise that is blown really hot and really cold and probably finished in a place where they're roster suggested that they would finish. I don't think a lot of people were sold on Lucknow Super Giants, even when they were winning all those matches. They were winning all those matches, I think, on the back of crazy hitting from Nicholas Pooran and Mitchell Marsh, getting lucky a lot of the times. And their bowling attack, let's be honest, was a joke, even when it was composed.
I think
you do not go into a 2.5 month IPL season on the back of fragile fitness record in Mayank Yadav, and it showed. He was injured.
They had like at least 3 injury replacements in their fast bowling attack. From there on, it sort of threw off their entire bowling lineup, and what probably hasn't helped is the price tag of Rishabh Pant and the scrutiny that comes with it. He has flourished when there is little limelight on him. Sort of obviously, as a captain, there has always been questions on him. Like even in Delhi, Shreyas was his predecessor, and he was much better captain tactically than Rishabh Pant. Rishabh is.
I will still not forget Rishabh Pant not opting to bowl Ravi Bishnoi against MS Dhoni. You
exactly. That
match.
Is what I was about to talk because in that was a blunder from a captain's point of view. You cannot give a player like MS Dhoni a free hand when the team is needing so many runs in the last 2-3 overs, and your leading spinner hasn't bowled his complete full quota of overs. So that is not done. How can you do that? Giving Dhoni a pacer in the last few overs is like a freebie. He did that.
And it doesn't help that he's not scoring runs every match. His failures being noted down in terms of how much he's getting paid for the number of runs he's scored, every run he's making.
Captain matters actually. Captain
to be honest, Pant himself has made life difficult
for him. See, whether if I don't understand if better Rishabh Pant is not performing, he could have compensated that with his captaincy, with his wicket keeping. But very sorry to say that in all departments, it's below par actually.
Rishabh Pant, the captain, wouldn't want Rishabh Pant, the batter, in this side.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Moving on, from Lucknow and from
KKR.
Delhi, just talk about the holders. They've had a funny season.
I think, as it has been the case, whether it's with Rajasthan Royals, they sort of messed up in the retention as well as the auction. They did not feel the fact that they did not retain their captain, especially knowing that,
and then appointing the captain 2 days before the tournament.
Yep, and especially
picking their captain in the accelerated auction. I mean, this is not how a franchise plans.
In the defense of Ajinkya Rahane,
no, there is no defense. Let's be honest.
No, in the defense of Ajinkya Rahane, he is. Whatever he has done, his numbers. You cannot argue with his numbers.
No, I'm talking from a captaincy point of view.
Even as a captain, he has done what he can with that team. When Venkatesh Iyer is not performing, when your bowling attack is not performing, it's very little a captain can do. I cannot say that he's tactically been as bad as Rishabh Pant or some of the other captains has been. It's a lot to do with the team that's put in front of him, and he had no say in the team that's been assembled.
To be fair to Ajinkya Rahane, one thing that I'll concede is that fight with the Eden Gardens curator probably did not help the team.
And in my opinion, what was the turning point for the defending champions was that match against Punjab Kings, where they could chase 110 plus run. Till the time Ajinkya and Raghuvanshi was there, they were cruising. And suddenly they lost the steam, means giving 4 wickets to Yuzvendra Chahal, especially when you need only 110 and at one point of time they were needing 30-40 runs with 6-7 wickets in hand. So that was the turning point, I think.
I kind of buy into the argument that Rahane's numbers are good, but you remove Rahane from the team, Raghuvanshi comes 3, where he excelled last year. Everybody in that order goes up a place, probably in their rightful place. And the Russell, you have Rinku Singh, who's had 2 horror IPL campaigns with the bat because they have just not been able to figure his entry points. Same thing with Russell. So from that point of view, again, a lot to think. Do they retain Venkatesh Iyer for that price tag? Again, another franchise with a lot of questions.
Again, this puts a question mark on their retention policy. You let go of Phil Salt. Last year, when they won their 3rd title, it was because of their opening pair, Sunil Narine and Phil Salt. They had almost in all the matches they have given good starts. This time Sunil Narayan is not in that
Quinton
touch.
de Kock did not turn up.
De Kock didn't turn up, and then Phil Salt was not there. So very difficult actually. Means last years they were scoring runs for fun. They had means although Punjab Kings chased the highest total against them, but every match, almost every match, they were scoring 180.
Mitchell Stark's new ball wickets in really big.
Stark was there
big
in the
matches.
playoffs. He was brilliant. So retention.
And it didn't help that they lost a couple of matches to rain as well. And I probably would not be surprised that not just from a captaincy point of view, even from the coaching point of view, if you see.
Moving on, now talking about a fourth franchise, I don't think, I mean, a lot of commentators on social media, and we're not going to give them a lot of importance, but they've repeatedly brought up this point: how can you retain Shimron Hetmyer and decide to let go of Josh Butler?
Yeah, that's probably.
I think that's probably indicative of what they've done this entire season with the bat.
I think from a playing a devil's advocate from a franchise's point of view, I think Butler had a couple of off seasons for starters, and he's in his late 30s, and they have invested heavily in Indian youngsters, who a lot of them are the top 5
Shimron
batters.
Hetmyer is not an Indian youngster.
They have paid 16 crores for Jaiswal, and then Juril, and then
they have paid
Ryan Parag as well, and then they have Sanju Samson at the top. So that Suryavanshi is obviously, he came in as a replacement, but their top 4 is sort of, fixated on that, and they knew they were going to build a brand over them. And it's as much as a business decision as it is a sporting decision. What Hetmyer has not been able to do is that he's a specialist batter.
Give the impact that Sherfin Rutherford has had for Punjab.
He has not had anything to do with other departments, even more so considering the impact player rule that is in play. The last time he had a good season was probably in 2023, but since then he has sort of fallen off, and I think I'll be really surprised if they retain him next year, honestly speaking. And the fact that they missed Samson for the entire season as well.
This in my opinion is one of the biggest setbacks for them, because missing your captain, you are one of the top order batsmen. It was a great loss for Rajasthan Royals, because last season when he performed along with Butler, so the team was in the playoff. So this season they missed his services badly.
The other thing I think that's really impacted them is that the last few years they've had 12 over locks in terms of Trent Bolt, Ravi Ashwin and Yuzveନ୍ଦ୍ra Chahal. Yeah. They do not have that this year, and they've tried to replace Ashwin and Chahal with the 2 Lankan spinners. That's been hit and miss. Jofra Archer did have a few good games here and there, but then he's coming back from multiple injuries, multiple long-term absentees. So again they have.
And again he is out of the Windies series now. Yeah. So
again they do have a very interesting winter coming up in terms of what they would like to do. Like you likely said, they have invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort on Sanju Samson. So I think they'll retain that.
I am really looking forward to the trading season. I think this trading season will be probably the most interesting one. I know the Hardik Pandya thing happened, but this season,
I wouldn't be surprised if Sanju Samson is being eyed by a South Indian franchise.
Sanju Samson is eyed by a lot of South Indian franchises for a lot of years now, but whether it happens or not, we'll have to wait and watch. For now, at least, another forgettable season, and we'll have to wait and see how the next 6 months span.
And also looking at how the likes of Shreyas has gone about things, how Pant has been fast tracked to captaincy. Do you think there is a subplot of Jaiswal going to the management and saying, hey, maybe it's my turn to
There were reports of him wanting the leadership role even before it was handed to Ryan Parag, and again he had switched domestic teams, come back. There's a lot happening in terms of his ambitions and the way he wants to move forward, which is why I feel the upcoming trading season before the auction is going to be a very, very interesting one.
That's all. Thanks for watching another edition of Force and Sixes. Stay safe and bye-bye.